when the first case was reported and confirmed in Kenya of COVID-19, we all panicked. There was a lot of hearsay, there was a lot of assumptions, there were a lot of fears. But it's until the government started doing the actual tests to know who has it and who doesn't, because it was later confirmed that there were people who were carrying it and they never displayed any symptoms. Today we are talking about testing and evaluating your financial status as you continue in this journey. This is Council of Coaches with Amos Ngahu. Have you ever sat down to ask yourself, how am I really doing financially? What does that entail? It simply means, have I ever asked myself how much money is enough for me? If today you are asked, or even the mere excitement of, if today I give you $1 billion, what would you do with the money? Now, even worse, if you were to flip that and ask you, everything you own is lost, how would that make you feel? So today in our discussion, we want to just evaluate where we are financially, not in comparison to anyone, but do simple exercise that we can be able to evaluate and see and say this is where we are. Because for instance, if today you look at the Forbes magazine, they evaluate and they tell you the top richest people here in this continent is so and so. So there are some tests they normally do. So we're going to go to the board and evaluate that. Allow me to use this guide. It's a guide that will help you do some of these exercises. So basically, what we are going to do, just get a piece of paper or a plain board and try to work out something. Unless you come from Alliance where you can do some Excel and knock yourself out with what you're comfortable with. So what you're going to do, you're going to draw what we call a T account. A T account. And this will be able to guide us to know if we can be able to find out how much we are worth. So the final end here is to calculate your net worth. How much are you worth today? Okay? Now, using this guide, we are going to, first of all, on this side, we are going to write the assets that we have. Okay? Assets is basically anything that belongs to you. And on this side, we are going to have liabilities. Okay? These are things that are owed to others. Now, the very basic one that we need to put here on the assets, we're going to start with the assets, is if you have a piece of land, not inherited by the way, a piece of land you bought for yourself, if you can be able to get an actual value, current value that you can be able to sell and dispose it with, put the amount there. So let's say you can put about $500,000, okay? Or 300,000, depending on the current value. Now the next one is, if you have a home that you own, not the one you're paying rent, but a home that you own, basically other financial coaches will tell you a home is not an asset because this is money lying there, you may not dispose it. But if you own a home and you can put a value, if you're not paying rent, it's a home that you've built or bought, put a value there, let's say of like another 6 million. Okay? Other assets include savings. So let's say you're saving in a circle. You say savings in a circle, and you can put there, let's say you've saved 200,000. Okay? This is just an example. Put in your actual figures. Let's say you own a car. Remember, a car is a depreciating asset, but once in a while you can dispose it and use the money to do something. Let's say it's worth about 600,000. Okay? You can go on, and remember, this is not limited because there are people who have like business assets. Let's say they have a tractor somewhere. So business assets, that is if you own the business. So business assets, there are people who stock things like jewelry. Okay? So all these things are things that you own that would be able to give you a certain value and see how much you're worth. There are people who have pension. You can put pension over here. There are people who have life covers. Basically, this is where you're worth more dead than alive. And you get the total. So remember to include everything. This needs a lot of time. So the time that you can find your me time, you can be able to calculate this. So let's say all this comes to around, this is 500,000, this is 600,000. Let's say it comes to around 8 million. Okay? 8 million. Now we go to the other side. The other side is basically what you owe others. This is basically debt. So for instance, we can even take this to the other side. For instance, if you bought this land from, assuming you finished paying this debt, but you still have a SACCO loan, because you have 200,000, you have a SACCO loan, so you can actually say all the loans here, starting with SACCO. Okay, let's say it's the money that you used to construct your house. Let's say you owe the SACCO about 3 million. Okay, let's say you own the bank because they helped you get the car, so you paid for a while for the car. Let's say you have a balance of 300,000, 300K. So let's say you have a HELB loan. You know those loans that we conveniently forget? So put your HELB loan there, put the balance. Let's say you have a balance of like 400,000. Okay. Let's say you have, remember the Shylock loans? Just be realistic. If you have a Shylock loan, remember, for the purpose of knowing where you are, just put the amount there. Including also, go to the category of digital loans. If you have those loans, you can categorize them and list them there. So the purpose here is to know how much money you owe other people. So you get the total as well, the total liabilities. So this could be around 5 million shillings. Okay? So if right now you want to calculate how much you're worth, you'd simply deduct the liabilities from the assets, not finding the difference. Because sometimes you could find someone has fewer assets, but they have more debt. So basically meaning they are on the negative. So it's you deducting the the liabilities from the assets to get the net worth of 3 million shillings. So this is just an example, and you can do it for yourself. Now, what's the purpose of this? This is like a test that you've conducted on your finances. The importance of this is for it to tell you, and this is where you start asking yourself some hard questions. The loan that I took, let's say I took a Shylock loan to do my business and it didn't do well, and I'm now paying that loan. Could it, if I avoided that loan, could be my balance sheet, could it be looking any better than it is right now? Because if you don't ask yourself those questions, you realize you're doing a rat race. You have never evaluated how much you're worth. But then as time goes, it eats into your net worth. And that is where you'll find someone has these assets, but then they've worked so hard to just pay off these loans. Okay? And that is why you realize that the culture of parents, after working for so long, they're now depending on their children. Why? Because they never did an evaluation to know that, yes, even the assets that I have, what income are they generating and what purpose are they playing in my finances? And it is very important for us to do this. Run this exercise at least every 3 months. It will help you become a better steward of your finances. Always remember, money does not stay where it is needed. It stays where it is respected. This is Council of Coaches with Amos Ngahu, your financial coach on Clean Money TV.
Next time on Clean Money Tuesday.
Do you struggle with budgeting? Do you sometimes look at your money and you're wondering, when someone is giving me these stories of budgeting, what am I thinking about? I can't even seem to budget. So today we are talking about budgeting. Very few of us are able to sustain a certain budget. Why? Either because we were not taught to, or even because our money personality does not allow us to be very patient in budgeting or even accumulating. So today we are going to see how we can be able to look at a different approach towards budgeting for us to make better decisions. Let's go to the board.
This is Clean Money TV.